It's time for Inside LCC, an inside look at Lansing Community College's academic programs. I'm Cassie Little, and we've got you covered with programs that nourish creativity and exploration, cultivate your purpose, and guide you to your career. Listen as we explore some of the opportunities at LCC and learn from conversations with faculty members, staff, and students. Hello, welcome back to Inside LCC. I'm Cassie Little. I'm excited to be here with my guest today, Shelley Jeltema. Welcome, Shelley.
Oh, thanks for having me, Cassie.
Yeah, so Shelley is here with the CIT, which is Computer Information Technology, and Geospatial Sciences programs as an assistant professor, right? Did I get all that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you got all that right.
Perfect. Shelley, I also heard that sometimes you might be called the drone queen. Is that true?
That is also true.
All right. I can't wait to hear more about that. So I guess to start out, can you tell us a little bit about that program, what you do? I guess a little bit of an elevator pitch.
Well, we have a 21 credit certificate at the moment for becoming a FAA certified drone pilot.
Wow.
And then learning how to fly commercially for things like cinematography and real estate, public safety, agriculture is coming into the mix, building and construction, surveying, just about anything you could use a drone for. We are teaching students how to do that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know a few people who use drones for photography, and you mentioned real estate photography as well. I'm excited to hear about some of these other ways that you can use the drone, because I know some people use them just for fun, right, in their spare time, but to know that, you know, how many jobs are out there and what opportunities there are is really cool.
Yeah.
So you did say, I think some of the degrees and certificates offered in your area. If there's anything else you want to mention, we can definitely talk about those. But what are some examples of the kind of jobs that you could get in this area? So you mentioned some of those, but can you expand a little bit, like agriculture is something upcoming or anything else like that?
Well, we have people using drones over at Michigan Department of Transportation. They are using them to do the surveys for the road beds and other road-related things. They also use them for bridge inspections. Then Michigan State Police, as well as county and local police departments, are using drones for finding missing people and also going into places that might not be safe for humans to go into, like burnt out buildings, and things like that. Then we've also got the construction trades, where they will go and be able to survey building sites. They can actually fly inside and check to see if the dimensions of the buildings are to spec or not. Then one of my favorites is actually doing movies. And people often will ask, well, geez, like home movies? No, as in like Fast and Furious movies and box office hits. A lot of that is being filmed by drones now.
Yeah, when I think about, when I see some of those shots in movies, I always am like, is this a helicopter that they're flying? You know, in some of the older movies. But I think a lot more of that is going to be drones. Is the main goal of a drone, or the main, I guess, not goal, but purpose, is it that they can video and take pictures, or do they do anything else besides that?
Some of the work that I've done when I was at Environment and Great Lakes and Energy for the state of Michigan, we actually put chemical sensors on drones, and we were able to test for certain environmental chemicals. We also did a project where we researched being able to detect gas leaks from natural gas pipelines. Then newer technology or newer uses is to deliver like medications. So when this gets to be a bigger thing in the United States, a hospital would be able to send out the required blood in an accident, and paramedics that are on the scene could start treatment right away instead of having to wait for them to get back to the hospital.
Wow. That is kind of crazy to think about, but it does sound like that's where it's going, right? And that's so interesting because I think a lot of us, I mean, like I said, I thought, when I think of drones, I think of photos from above, but to know that they have all of those capabilities and are being used that way is really cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So for the students in the program and the degrees and certificates offered in your area, do most of those students, or maybe not most of them, but are they able to work after graduating from LCC, or do they mostly want to transfer to continue their education first at a 4-year university?
At this point right now, we had planned for students to be able to go out and get jobs without necessarily having to go to a 4-year university. We are still on the cutting edge, and we are on the cutting edge with places like Ohio State University and Utah State University.
Okay, nice.
So we're on the cutting edge with them as far as drones are concerned, and they're not a whole, going to a 4-year at this point, you're going to get some kind of an aviation degree as opposed to being an expert in flying a drone.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so lots of opportunities then. So we talked a little bit about the programs and the jobs, but can you give us an example? I like asking about an example of like maybe one class that a student would take and the things they'd be doing in that class, or, maybe a chunk of classes, something like that.
Well, we do have our pilot certification prep class where they will learn pretty much how to fly drones, how to read aviation maps, which is really a challenge in and of itself. And at the end of the class, you take an exam and you can earn your Federal Aviation Administration Part 107 commercial drone license.
Oh my gosh.
So you could actually say, I'm a pilot.
Yeah. Wow. I never thought of it like that.
And then the classes that I teach, I actually teach how to do the roof inspections, how to photograph an accident scene. And every class we do a search and rescue mission where we coordinate with the LCC Police Department and the Fire Academy, and we will create a scenario where one of their fire dummies manages to get lost on campus, and my students actually have to go find them using the drone.
Wow.
So my classes are constantly out doing things. We have very little time where we're back in a classroom, doing book work. There's, any homework is all labs. It's hands-on labs out flying.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot different than your typical lecture classroom, right? Sitting in a chair and listening to the instructor lecture, which I'm sure, it's a balance. Sometimes there is that. But I mean, I know that our police and fire academies, have worked together over the years at our West Campus doing some of those accident simulations and fire simulations. So it's cool to know when there's a new program like the drones, something up and coming, to be able to add that into the mix and how it would be used in the real world.
Yeah. And it is my goal to reach out to a lot of the different departments, because it's not just the academies that can use drones. Criminal justice and their digital evidence collection. I would love to get with some of the sciences where if they want to go and look at like biology, let's go look at what's in this lake.
Yeah.
And we can put a drone over it. So I'm trying to get our program out for everybody and sit there and say, no, we welcome everybody to come and take advantage of what my students can do for them and how my students can learn. Then, we also have the drone certificate stackable. So if you want to be a biology major, you can be that, biology major and get a drone certificate.
Wow. Yeah. So you can, I mean, I love the collaboration across the different programs. But then also thinking of the flexibility of that, of getting that drone certification and working in anywhere from, I think you said soil testing and with chemicals to criminal justice or cinematography. There's so many options.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
And they're growing. This, I mean, I hate to use a pun of, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
But right now,
I like that.
We really have no limits on what we can do with this technology.
Yeah. So I want to make sure for your area, kind of geospatial sciences and CIT, is it more than drones, or is that kind of what the focus is right now?
It's actually more on the geospatial side.
Okay.
And because drones, yes, are fun to fly, but unless you can handle the software and the IT end of it, once you fly and take all the videos and take all the pictures, all they are is pretty pictures until you start using the geospatial sciences to do the analysis, where we can, again, assess crop health just by looking at the video. We can assess the health of a lake just by taking videos and running it through software. They can tell, is this a healthy lake? Are there, animals in this area? We can count animals. We can, like I said, do bridge inspections without having to put somebody in danger of falling off the bridge.
Right. Yeah. The drone can get places that people can't right?
Can't go. Absolutely.
Yeah. But it's more than just flying. It's being able to interpret
right.
what you found afterwards. Right.
And that's it. Is, like I said, we can get a bunch of pictures, but unless we have trained people that are behind the scenes analyzing that data, it's nothing. It will never get any further than a pretty picture.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there any because I think you said you're in the classroom, you're working with students a lot, right? Are there any stories that you have about your students, or any classroom experiences, or even your experience working in the field, background you have in the subject? I know you've shared a lot, which is really great, and I appreciate.
Well, our students, the thing that always amazes me is they come into the class, my first class, and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to crash, and I'm going to crash a drone,
and it's going to cost a lot,
and it's going to cost a lot,
yeah,
and I'm scared to death."
I can imagine that.
But then at the end of the semester, we will have like drone races. We'll get out some of our fun drones, and we'll have drone races.
Wow.
And the last nice day that we had, they said, "Oh my gosh, I got this drone up to 55 miles an hour and I didn't crash it." I'm like, "Of course you didn't crash it. I knew you weren't going to do that." But then they realized that they actually, were able to handle these machines that are literally thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And I see the growth and the satisfaction in that. And that's really cool for me. As far as my own, I was working again with Eagle, and we were doing a study, and one of our many tens of thousands of dollar drones just took off on us.
Oh my gosh.
And we were kind of close to the Detroit airport, and it was even more scary when I looked up and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there's a Delta Airlines plane." And I hope this is just an optical illusion and that we really are a long ways away from this Delta airline plane, because I thought, it's not good to ever hit anything in an airliner, because they're not the most sturdiest of things when they get hit. It's a long ways up to fall.
Yes.
And I sat there and I'm thinking, I'm going to, my boss's $70,000 drone is going to crash into this airline. We weren't anywhere near close to it.
Yeah.
We were able to get control of it back, but the guy who was piloting it, he was like, "I think I just need a break."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I think I need one too."
Yeah, that would be kind of crazy to see.
So it's always, even when it's supposed to be the most routine of things, it never is. So if you like excitement, if you like different things in a job, this is totally the career path to look at.
Yeah. And I mean, that makes sense. You talked about the piloting license, which again, I wouldn't think of with a drone, I guess, originally. But yeah, when you can be interacting with commercial airlines in the sky, probably pretty important.
Yeah, and it is. And even if you are flying just as a recreational person, you are supposed to have a recreational license. Mm-hmm. And they're free. You can get them online. There's 20 minutes to watch a video and probably 20 minutes to take the test.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that our program does is we really promote community safety and safe community drone usage. Mm-hmm. And we offer programs throughout the year where we'll do specials and have the community come out and we'll help them fix their drones, get them up, get them flying. In the spring, we're going to take part of the FAA Safety Day. The last Saturday in April, which is April 27th, we'll be holding free recreational certification classes.
Oh, good. That's awesome. Well, we will make sure to put that information in the show notes also, or the place you can find more information about that. But cool. I love that. So I think we covered a lot, but I want to make sure we can talk about anything else. Is there anything else you want to share about the program or anything, that people might want to know?
Well, like I said, we welcome all the majors here at LCC. We can find a way to use a drone in just about everything that is offered at LCC. And it is definitely, like I said, can be on top of your actual degree program. And for our final capstone project and capstone class, we work with your program to find a meaningful project for you to be, for students to be working on.
Oh, that's cool.
And enhances their actual, their main degree.
Well, Shelley, you might see me in a class because you've got me pumped up. That sounds really cool. Okay, well, the last question I have is, what excites you most about your field? That can be, I know it's a big question, so that can be today. What excites you most about your field?
I always wanted to be a pilot of an airplane, mm-hmm. and that just never quite worked out. But being a pilot of a drone is almost as good, and I love the variety. I love all the different things that I can do with this, and I absolutely love being able to share my experience and share my knowledge with my students and watching them grow and become more confident and more knowledgeable in what they're doing.
That's great. Thank you, Shelley, so much for being here today. We will put notes in the show notes at lccconnect.org so everyone who is interested can learn more and maybe reach out to become a part of the program. Thanks, Shelley.
Well, thank you for having me. I was really glad to be here today.
Yeah. This has been Inside LCC. I'm Cassie Little, and if there's a specific degree and program you want to hear more about, let us know by contacting us at lccconnect.org. Thanks for taking a listen. Inside LCC.